Fixation of the gaze is one method employed for hypnotizing people. As the name implies, this involves gazing fixedly at an object. There are many variations of this method, some of which are given here, but the usual procedure is to seat the subject comfortably and take some bright object which is held in front of the subject's eyes, slightly higher than the level of the gaze and about 12 inches from his face. It is immaterial what is used as the object: a ring, the end of a pencil, the end of a thimble, or a light. The subject is asked to gaze steadily at the object. When the elevated position of the eyes is maintained for a short period, the eye muscles will tire. This is because the eyes are pulled inwards and upwards, converging slightly, and are in an unaccustomed and strained position. This tiring, which is a physiological process, is anticipated by the hypnotist, who makes suggestions on the following lines. Your eyes will shortly become very tired. Your eyelids will want to close. The subject may blink. The hypnotist will take advantage of this and comment on the fact. The subject's eyes must be kept fixed, gazing steadily at the object. When you first notice changes in the face and the eyes, keep commenting on these changes, saying simply, "You are getting sleepier. Your eyelids are getting heavier." To avoid needless repetition, this and the following methods of induction will only be described up to the light stage. Follow more detailed instructions for deepening the hypnotic state I will give later. Another method of inducing hypnosis is to give the subject a small metal disc with a spot in the center. A small piece of black cardboard with a small piece of silver paper about the size of a pea stuck in the center will serve admirably. Place the subject comfortably sitting in a chair and get him to cup his right elbow in his left palm. In his right hand, place a piece of cardboard. Have the subject direct his gaze at the piece of silver paper and tell him to concentrate his gaze upon it, and as far as possible to exclude all thoughts. Tell him that his breathing will become deeper and that he will notice a slight numbness in the hand that holds the card. Sit down beside him and suggest that not only will his arms become numb, but he will feel this numbness stealing over the whole of his body. Whilst you are talking, watch him closely to see if his eyes, body, and features are being affected by the suggestions you are making to him. When you observe any signs of this, say firmly, "Your eyes are becoming heavier and are closing. Your arms are becoming heavier and more tired. Your breathing is becoming deeper." If his eyes do not close, give him definite instructions to close them. When they are closed, instruct him to remain sitting, listening to your voice. Another fixed gaze method, which has both advantages and disadvantages, is to instruct the subject to look directly at you. Tell him to look into one of your eyes. Indicate which eye by pointing to it with your forefinger. The reason for this is that he will find it is impossible to look into both of your eyes at the same time. Tell him that his breathing will become deeper and he will begin to feel drowsy and his eyes will want to close. Pause for a while, and when he blinks, which he will do, tell him that his eyes are going to close when you count up to 3. Tell him that they will close just after you have said the word 3, and that then he is simply to rest and listen to your voice. His eyes may not close immediately after you have said the word 3, in which case regard him steadily, as there may be a slight pause between you having said 3 and his eyes closing. As a preparation to make this method of fixed gaze technique more effective, it is advisable to practice looking at a spot on the wall or in a mirror to strengthen your eyes against blinking. Do not look directly into the subject's eyes, but direct your gaze in between them at the bridge of the nose. Be on your guard against being hypnotized yourself. This is possible when using this direct gaze method and you are looking into the eyes of the subject. If you feel the onset of any trance, act decisively and without any hesitation. Immediately raise your hand and say, with your fingers, firmly close your subject's eyelids. Whilst doing this, say with firmness, rest. Keep your eyes closed and listen to me. Shake off your own drowsiness and proceed with the trance deepening material, which I will give you later. An excellent method is to tell your subject to fix his gaze on some object and to follow closely your instructions. You then tell him that when you count 1, he will close his eyes. And when you count 2, he will open them. And when you count 3, he will close them. And on 4, he will open them. And that he will continue to close his eyes on the odd numbers and open them on the even numbers. Inform him that as you continue to count, he will find his eyelids become heavier, that he will begin to feel drowsy. Tell him he will experience an increasing resistance to opening his eyes, which will grow so strong that in a short time he will be unable to open them. And when this occurs, he is not to worry at all about it, but is to remain relaxed and continue to listen to you. You need not give him any indication as to how long this will be, but you can, if you wish, say that by the time you have reached 20, his eyelids will have become heavy. This will be left to the reader's discretion, and his ability to judge matters of this nature will improve with experience. When you start to count, let the pause following the odd numbers be longer than the following the even numbers. There is no need to be diffident about this, but firmly make a longer pause after the 1 than after the 2. The result of this is that the subject's eyes are closed for a longer period than they are open. Do not break the rhythm which you will employ in counting, as this should convey a smooth feeling of rhythm. This will prevent any tenseness and uncertainty, which are precisely the things to avoid. This method will lend itself to comments which you may make to amplify your suggestions. If the subject does not respond fairly easily, for example, you might employ something on the following lines. 19, 20, 21. You are feeling very comfortable. 22, 23. It is very pleasant just resting. 24, 25. Your eyes are getting heavier and heavier. 26, 27. It's becoming more and more of an effort. They are getting heavier and heavier. Becoming too much of an effort. They are getting so heavy that you will find that you cannot open them, and it is much more pleasant just to sit resting, because your eyelids have become so heavy that all you want to do is rest. It will be noted that all comments are made on the odd numbers whilst the subject's eyes are closed, and continue with trance deepening material, which I will give later. For this method, use a blue electric light bulb, preferably focusing it on a small spot on the ceiling, with the rest of the room in subdued light. Make sure that the lightened spot can be easily seen by the subject without effort. He is instructed to gaze at this blue spot of light while sleep suggestions on the lines dealt with are made to him. It is interesting to note that some years ago a government bulletin commented on the fact that glass painters using cobalt blue sometimes fall asleep at their easels. This can be regarded as a definite evidence that sleep or trance brought on by gazing at blue light is not entirely dependent on suggestions employed.